this event is about mobility. So I want to see a raise of hands because I am one of these interactive folks. How many of you are in the mobility space right now? A lot of you. How many of you are investors looking to get in the space? There you go. And how many are just curious? Most. There you go. That's perfect. So I didn't know. I'll tell you just a little bit about the company, and then I'm going to go into a history lesson. So our company trains people on what this new mobility space is. We've been in this for over a decade. We've written some great certification programs. But what we're finding is, how many of you have a PhD in autonomy? Yeah, in autonomy, come on. So this guy should be the keynote instead of me. So there is no PhD currently. They're working on it in autonomy. But what we have going on in this space is that there's not enough people to work on this. And that's what I've committed my life and my team and my partners to doing, is to enabling more people to work in this field. So I want you to look at this, and I want you to think back. There's a couple of gentlemen that decided to get together for a beer after work. And they're sitting in this bar, and Jim goes, "Hey, I just got a new ride. It's white, and it's sleek, and it's beautiful." And Mike goes, "Whatever, I've seen your new ride. Mine's way better. Top of the line, it's a black, beautiful, raring to go, fast. I said, and he says, "Okay." So Will goes, "I got you all built. I got a classic. I have a classic one, and it is amazing." And so they all go outside, and they decide that they're going to look at each other's rides. So how many of you would tell me what they're seeing now? There's three what out there? I bet many of you thought it was a car. The year was 1900s, and this is not a car, this was a horse. So what happens is, back then, they were afraid of transportation in general. They were afraid of cars. People said if you get in a car and it goes more than 15 miles an hour, your nose will bleed and your head will explode. This is no joke. This is what happens. So suddenly you've got these new technologies, and people are afraid of them. And a horse, then, they said they'll never replace the horse. My father's rode a horse, my father rode a horse, my father's father, and on and on. They all rode horses. No one will ever replace the horse. So let's fast forward just a few years. What do you see here? I want to ask one person. Tell me what you see on this slide. Anybody? Horse carriages. Yes, horses, carriages, people walking. Do you see a little chaos? Cable cars, right? You see this dude right here, like, where's he going? He just ran out of some store and just ran across the street. This is chaos. So when they first started the automobile, this is chaos. There's no roads. Do you see any lines? Do you see anything that resembles organization? No, you don't, because it was innovation back then. And yes, you do have the horses, but you have craziness. But what happened? Do you see this anymore today? No, you don't, because it evolved. And where we are today is in a time where everybody in this room, mark my words, very similar to the days when the vehicle was created by Ford. We have never seen such a transition that's about to occur as we will over the next decade. So let me tell you what happened. Yeah, you saw the horses, you saw the carriages, and when they invented the car, they thought about, how is it a way for me to get to a place? We got to go slow, but we want to get somewhere. But what else happened? This whole transition in transportation resulted in roads, so they were able to get people and things from point A to point B. The entire road system that we see today was based on the fact that we had transportation we never had before. And then who would have thought, when they created this steel horse, is what they used to call it, that we would create a new way to do jobs. We would create an entire assembly line that took people from one person assembling an entire car to people that we still use today. Each person has a specific job so that they can be better at building what people wanted, which was the new transportation. So let's make that applicable right now. New transportation. Now, how many of you have ever seen an autonomous car? Wow, that is the most I have ever seen in an audience. That's pretty impressive. But the autonomous car is here today. How many of you have actually seen it driving without someone sitting inside of it? Well, you're not fair, Matt. Okay, there's a few of you. So look at this picture. What do you see here? Elevator operator. In the 1800s, 1880, elevators were invented. Imagine though, okay, you're a person, you walk up to this box that looks like a casket and it's going to take you up. Are you going to get in that? So not only did that operator serve a purpose really to get them up and down, because frankly, you probably could have done it without it a few short years, but it was also that safety factor. I want to feel safe when I'm in that elevator. So I know if this guy is sitting there, he's not dead. So that's a good thing for me. So I think that I can get in this and not be dead too. And so that worked then. We're there with autonomy and mobility today. Many of the vehicles that you see in a public capacity have drivers that are sitting in the seat, but don't necessarily have to be in the seat. But they are, because again, we're in this transition. In a transition that, mark my words, you will look back on this day and realize that never before since the invention of the automobile has anything changed what we are about to see so dramatically. So I've got just a couple of slides here because I want to show you what autonomy looks like. How many of you have seen a Tesla? Everybody's heard of a Tesla, so I don't even ask this question anymore and think I'm not going to get any hands. How many of you have ridden in a slow-speed shuttle that's autonomous? So we have those in Detroit right now. We have May Mobility, who is a company out of Ann Arbor. They launched just a few years ago right here, and they are deploying across the nation. And this is a really, really important thing because this is not only autonomy and mobility, but it plays into this entire ecosystem. I need to get over. Am I in front of you? Oh, the cameras. Excuse me. I got to get over here. So I'm going to not move as normal. Right between here. Stay in my lane. That's hard for me. Anyway, this is an autonomous shuttle. So back to the point, mobility is more than autonomy. Mobility is connectivity. It's smart cities. It's intelligent transportation. Yes, it's autonomy, but it's so much more than that. And so the reason that I'm mentioning this to you is because if you're in the autonomous space, that is amazing. And that is really good for you because that is just evolving. And very much like the video that I showed earlier, it is chaos right now. I had an individual, and I cannot name names, my husband, but he, he is in autonomy. And when he first got into it, he said, "Oh my gosh, what did I do?" There are very few standards and very few regulations. It's very different for an engineer that is accustomed to everything is done this way. There is fluidity. There is creativity. There is the ability to be an entrepreneur still and still create safe products like many of us showed today. And this is amazing because it's happening right here in our backyard. And I show a picture of this because this is what the city of tomorrow will look like and could look like. It's connectivity everywhere. It's on the roads, it's in the traffic lights, where we have a safer world because we are driving in a connected way through mobility. It is 85% safer to live in a connected environment and to drive in that way. I'm a terrible driver. I tell people all the time that the reason I promote autonomy is if you see me on the road, it's not a good thing. And I say that jokingly, but in all seriousness, we're so distracted these days with our phones, which I'm sure no one have ever texted in this room, but distracted driving. We're always thinking of something else. The kids nowadays, and my daughter, she wants to be connected all the time. Driving for her will be a distraction because it doesn't allow her to be on her device. It doesn't allow her to be in a social environment. And so we must become connected for several reasons. And we are at the point where we're being connected today. What does that mean for all of you? It means new jobs. It means if you decide that you want to be an engineer in autonomy, go for it. If you want a cybersecurity degree, go for it. If you want to hang a traffic light, hang the traffic lights that are the intelligent transportation systems, the ones that can save lives so that people don't crash into each other. You have seconds when you're in an automobile accident to react. And if the system can react before you do and save your life, wouldn't you invest in that? So I put this picture in because someone told me that if you have a video and a picture of a kid in your event and your speaking deck, that you'll win. So I'm going to just stop there. This is my daughter, Brooklyn. In all seriousness, I don't ever want her to drive. I would prefer, and it's going to be a little further away than I would like it, to your point, but I would prefer if she never has to make the decision to drive. If her vehicle can pull up to her and take her where she needs to go, and I know she's safe because she's not distracted, or God forbid the person beside her is not distracted. And so as we think about the future automobile is supported by the people that were in this room today pitching their products. They're the ones that are going to make you safer. They are the ones that are going to make the car think for itself. They are the ones that are going to protect the industry of mobility. And if you don't think that this is going to happen, you should ask the horse. So that's all I have today. And thank you very much. This was fun.